a good piece of advice for the conversationalist, maybe a first date, and certainly RBG leaders, I think can be summed up in get in, make a good impression, have some fun, and get out before people get tired of you. It's that last part that a lot of RBG leaders really struggle with. Getting out, or in other words, ending the RBG night before people get tired, before they get stressed, and all around stop performing as well as they did at the beginning of the night. Here are 3 signs that indicate they should probably shut down the group. People may continue to PvP, they may join other RBG groups, but at least when they're tired and mentally spent and failing, they won't blame it on you. They should look back on the experience that they had in your group positively, and hopefully they'll be back again next time for some more fun. 1. You're losing. That one's kind of obvious. Most groups, when they start to lose consistently, fall apart anyway. But if you're pushing through, maybe you had a positive night at the beginning of the night. Maybe you've had 5 or 6 wins, but the last 3 or 4 games you've lost in a row. Could be bad comp, could be bad players, could be just people who have run out of gas for the night. All around though, you've got low morale issues. It's going to affect people even in those YOLO or chill groups. It happens. So give it up for the night, go do something fun, maybe some world PvP or regular BGs or arenas. You're better off taking a break and coming back at it again some other time, maybe with a slightly different group, continuing to win rather than spending raiding on all these losses. 2. Stupid mistakes are happening more and more frequently. Granted, we're all human, most of us, and eventually we do make mistakes. It happens, deal with it. But the longer you play for, the more you risk of more mistakes happening more and more frequently, because life just happens. Kids want attention, cats jump on keyboards, the power goes out, family spontaneously comes over for a visit at 11 p.m. That sort of stuff happens, and the more you play, the more it's gonna happen. Eventually, it's gonna happen to the detriment of your entire team for an actual BG, and it ends in a loss. The other thing to consider, with mistakes at least, is people tend to drink or do other things while they play. It's a recreational thing. It's a game. I used to play with a DK who throughout the nights would be drinking. And we could tell fairly accurately how many beers he had had by how many targets he called that didn't exist, or objectives he told us to go spin that also didn't exist. Things like, go to the lighthouse in Arathi Basin. 3. People have stopped speaking in voice chat. Now, this one won't be terribly obvious. There's always 1 or 2 people, maybe the strat caller, maybe the target caller, who are a little bit more vocal throughout the night, and they just don't stop. You're always going to have those. But if you look at some of my commentaries, particularly on Temple of Katmogu, which is a very communication heavy strategy, or if there is a strategy, you just need really good communication, people calling out orbs and such like that. You need everybody talking. You can't narrow it down to just 1 or 2 or 3 people like you might be able to pull off in raids in PvE. PvP is a very, very social sort of thing, or should be if you're going to play competitively or seriously, and you can't just sit back, put on the music, take your headset off, and chill. You have to be part of the team. So, when people get tired, or they're stressed, or they've just sort of run out of gas for the night, they tend to stop talking. Stress takes a toll. When you start hearing things like,
my butthole was clenched for a lot of that.
That was stressful.
That was so stressful.
At the end of a BG, you know that you just took a huge withdrawal out of their reserves for that night. And take that into consideration. You may only get 2 or 3 really close games out of the night if there were stressful wins. That's fine. People had a lot of fun, hopefully, especially if they're close games that ended in wins. Eventually, people run out of the amount of effort it takes to really be good players, and they start to rely more and more heavily on that vocal strat caller or TC just out of complacency. And at that point, the abilities of your team have then been hampered because you're not getting the intel as a strat caller or group leader that you need. The target caller isn't hearing about CC that's being put on, certain healers. All around, your team just got dumber because they're tired and want to go to bed. Or should, but they won't. Sometimes you as the group leader need to be the adult in the room and call it for the night. There are certain ways to do it that are less offensive than others. You don't need to point out so-and-so missed that cap or got ninja capped on, or so-and-so's not talking in our group and therefore they're too tired to play. You don't need to say any of that. Here's one way that I've gone about announcing to my team that we're done for the night, out of the interest of the whole group. Right? Well, I think we're done for the night. I can tell by how much people are talking in BGs that we're all tired and we're no longer effective. Players that want to increase their rating and understand what you're doing will value what you do more, and they will come back over and over and over again. Those that don't, you probably don't want them on a weekly basis anyway. Lastly, when deciding when to call it quits for the night, try and push for those latter signs. Try and look for when your team is getting tired but hasn't lost yet. If you wait until your team has already lost several games in a row, then you're really kind of throwing away all that rating that you pushed for the night. If you want to push rating, look for signs that say, this team's getting tired and we should call it quits before the losses come. Granted, that said, PvP is a team versus team sport. Losing games is a fact and reality of life. You're gonna lose a few. Don't call it quits just because of one loss. So find that balance. Good RBG leaders will know when to call it quits for the benefit of the group. Let me know how it goes this week, and I'll see you again next week with another video.
Well, you don't even need abilities if your transmog's legit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just...
Yeah, dude, once they see that my shoulders laugh with fire when I laugh, they just die.
That's it. Done.